Hello and welcome to Laytechs Weekly, episode 26 May 2021. Laytechs Weekly is brought to you by Laytechs, your protection from tech ignorance. My name is Sean. This week's news. Okay, this is a big one and we need to talk about this. Apple's ATT is evil, and here's why. So before I begin, you have to first understand what Apple's app tracking transparency is, or I will call it ATT. Many years ago, when Apple was trailing other tech companies in various markets, they decided to position themselves as a company that values privacy. Because remember when Siri came out, Siri was the most sought after or most raved about digital assistant or mobile assistant in the world. And all of a sudden, when Google Assistant came out and Amazon's Alexa came out, all of a sudden Siri became kind of dumb, right? She can't do much. She literally just can't do anything. That's because Apple made, in a way, I wouldn't say it is a mistake, but made a decision to value privacy over data collection. So without data, Siri could not grow, could not learn. And Siri became one of the dumbest digital assistants in the world, next to Bixby, I guess. And if you don't know who is Bixby, then yeah, that proves my point. So then Apple says, okay, we're going to take this step further. We're going to value your privacy because so many data breaches have been going around, all that kind of stuff, and let's take the position of privacy, right? And they became the crusaders of it. They became known for fighting for their users' privacies. So through the years, they've been rolling out a range of subscription services, software and features, practically stealing them from successful third-party makers. So what this means is that they see what are the successful third-party makers out there, right? Third-party apps and services and everything. And they create a similar one and they tell, oh, don't use theirs because they collect all the data. Use ours because we safeguard all your data. And they've been trying to tell everyone, right, to use their services because they value privacy, unlike third-party ones. Then last month, when iOS 14.5 came out, which allowed all users to opt out of third-party tracking on the apps they use, including Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Google's suite of apps. Apple said this was good because all users value their privacy against third-party tracking. Okay, this one is kind of like something that they're building and they're winning. Facebook has been trying to say, tell us that we should allow tracking because third party needs to have the data so it helps small businesses. But we don't listen to them because we believe in Apple because we say, all data tracking is bad. In a way, there is a point to that because companies like Facebook and Twitter and everything, they are not good stewards of our private data. I mean, time and time again, it's been proven that they don't safeguard our private data to a point where there are so many leakages, so many hacks, so many, like Cambridge Analytica scandal and stuff like that. So this is the part where the pendulum swings back the other way, right? We want more privacy. So then I came across this article from Benjamin Sifford of mobiledevmemo.com entitled Apple Robbed the Mob's Bank. He raised a very few crucial points. The first of which is that the removal of third-party tracking still allows first-party tracking. What's the difference? While advertisement firms that traditionally collect data from social media apps can no longer see where you go and what you do across various websites, big tech companies that own those apps still track your data. Okay, so the difference is third parties are all the other advertisement companies, the smaller players that also collect your information and sell them to people who wants to advertise, to businesses who wants to use this data to advertise to you. And big tech companies that own those apps like Facebook, Instagram, TikTok and all still have all your data. Facebook can still see what you do inside their apps, so can Google, and so can Apple. So herein lies the question, right? The problem is that when you disable third-party tracking, the people you are hurting are actually the small businesses, the smaller businesses. And because you take away competition from these layer of advertising firms or data tracking firms that sell the data to advertisers, that only leaves space for all the big players, maybe the big 5, the big 6 players. And when that happens with less competition, at the end of the day, Facebook can just put whatever price they want, and people who want to advertise, only people who can afford to advertise will advertise, and the small ones, small businesses, micro businesses will not be able to afford it. The second point is now beginning to manifest in Apple's App Store. I haven't seen it in my app stores yet, but some screenshots have been circulating around. Apple is already beginning to sell ad slots there. By going on a PR crusade against app tracking, Apple essentially locked competition away from its walled garden so it can create its own version of an advertisement platform. Facebook is right here, right? Big tech companies like Apple, Google, Facebook will not see much profits loss from ATT's exercise, because instead of having all the data circulating in the market, they are controlling all the data right now. Facebook is the only one that can see all the private data that of us when we use Facebook, Instagram, and nobody else can see it. So then they have the power to price it however they want to whoever who can advertise. The losers will be small businesses that rely on competition to provide them the best ad tracking data for the lowest prices. So I am a user of multiple Apple products because, to be honest, they create really high quality devices that work together seamlessly, and it creates a very good ecosystem, and I love it. But honestly, I cannot, in my good conscience, continue to do so, because knowing how downright vicious Apple is, they lock out everything in order to create their own little they lock out all kinds of competition in order to create their own little world where we have to buy in to it and we cannot leave because we are so tied down. This is the most authoritative system I have ever seen in a company. And I believe Microsoft used to be like that many years ago. That's why everybody hated Microsoft. But because Apple has such a good marketing team to brainwash all of us into thinking what we want is what they want to give us, that they give us. And even though we're feeling locked in and we're feeling like we are prisoners in their little jail, right? We are happy being there. Unlike what Microsoft used to be, it's like we hate it, but we've got no choice but to use it. Now, Apple has taken it to a step further, right? To brainwash us even to the next level where we are prisoners and we don't even know we are prisoners. At the end of the day, this is a moral dilemma we all must confront by ourselves, whether or not we continue to use Apple's entire ecosystem and live inside it, or not, right? But we have to understand, at the very least, we have to understand that supporting the wrong side will ultimately be detrimental to us consumers, because we cannot let one company control so much of everything we use. That is monopoly, and that is not good for the world, and that is not good for us. Let's move on to lighter stuff. Huawei to focus on software. The Chinese company was set to lead the global mobile market until the US Trump administration pulled the rug from under them and started a downward spiral. Today, Huawei still can't use Google services on its smartphones, and there is no sign of a reversal happening anytime soon by the Biden administration. I hope it happens, but yeah, no sign of it. Huawei founder and CEO has urged the company to push towards software development in an attempt to alleviate the impact from this sanction. They will be focusing on Mindspore, its cloud AI platform, and Harmony OS, its operating system for various smart devices, which I hope includes their mobile phones. With this strategy, Huawei aims to target all markets outside of the US, which includes Europe, the Asia Pacific, and Africa. I don't know if Harmony OS will ever work. I mean, based on all these histories with a third mobile device operating system, but we'll see. I do hope that a new operating system will come and be able to compete with the big two, but not very optimistic on this. Anyway, new macOS Zero-Day malware detected. It's called the XCSSET. XCSSET. it exploits a vulnerability that allows it to access parts of the macOS that requires permission, such as giving access to microphone, webcam, or recording the screen without ever getting noticed. It was first discovered by Trend Micro in 2020, which is said to still be in continued development and is able to target even the M1 Max. Once it is in, it will use two Zero-Days, one to steal the cookies from Safari to get access to a victim's online accounts, while the other quietly installs the development version of Safari, allowing trackers to modify and snoop on virtually any website. It will also be able to researchers at Jamf told TechCrunch that the malware searches for other apps on the victim's computer that are frequently granted screen access, like Zoom, WhatsApp, Slack, and injects malicious screen recording codes into those apps. They then piggyback the legitimate app and inherit its permission across macOS. Okay, so this is how it works, right? It goes in, right? And then it goes in to your Safari, and then it accesses your online accounts, and then it replaces your Safari with their version of Safari. And if you continue to use Safari, then they can track everything that you do. And then it is also able to do this other thing where it finds out all the apps that you use to grant screen access. Because in order to use Zoom, WhatsApp, and Slack, when you grant screen access, you have to give access to microphone, cameras, and all those kind of stuff, right? All those controls. It actually piggybacks that kind of apps, and then it inherits the permission level, which is very high across all of your entire device. Then once in, right, the hackers can take screenshots, look through all your passwords saved in Safari, log keystrokes because it can actually monitor all your keystrokes, access camera, and also use microphone. This is really scary. At this level, you can see how dangerous it is for all the users. So now what happened is Apple has confirmed to TechCrunch that it has fixed the bug in the new macOS 11.4 update. So apparently the 11.4 update has been rolled out last week, so it should be out. Everybody please check your laptops to make sure you have an update, at least 11.4, and make updates now. Google Photos introduced space-saving features. We're just less than a week away, from Google Photos removing its unlimited storage feature, to the detriment of almost everyone on Earth. In order to help users monitor and save space in their accounts, Google will be releasing a tool that helps flag screenshots, blurry photos, and large videos for our actions. Users will also be able to see an estimate of how long their free Google account storage will last, assuming that they consistently upload X amount of photos or videos. And Google Photos has a lot of sorry, I think I lost my yes. So personally, I don't think this should be a deal breaker for us to leave Google Photos. I mean, a lot of people have said, let's look for alternatives and everything like that. Because even without the unlimited storage, 15GB is a lot more than other providers are giving out today. Some are giving 3, 5, maybe some 10, but nothing at 15, right? And Google Photos also has a lot of awesome and incredibly intelligent features to make it worth its while. Some are just storage, like a folder, like Dropbox has a folder, OneDrive has a folder, right? It doesn't have an app that is so intelligent that you can search based on the faces, search based on location, time, search based on activities and things like that. And if you want, you could create a new Google account, let's say, right, to specially store media so you can maximize on a 15GB capacity. Because if you use your core Gmail account, what happens is the 15GB will also include what you use on your Google Drive, your Gmail and all that, and also your Google Photos. So if you want to maximize on 15GB, just get a new account specifically for photos, and then make use of the full 15GB. Like I said before, right, paying them a little more like a few ringgit a month for 100 gigabytes is not going to break our wallets and backs. So don't fret over it. They're giving good service, so pay money. Updates on Microsoft Build 2021 keynote, or shall I say PowerPoint. In this year's Microsoft Build event, the company said it has been making improvements to the Windows Store, allowing developers to submit any Windows application, including browsers. There are also rumors that Windows may allow third-party stores, so developers don't have to pay Microsoft fees. We already have the Steam and Epic stores, so I don't know what you're talking about, Microsoft. You're already miles ahead of Apple on its front, so you don't have to brag about it. I suppose it's not just on games, but it's also on apps as well. But yeah, Microsoft has always been very welcoming of third-party stores because they don't need to make money from their own Windows Store. CEO Satya Nadella also mentioned the next generation Windows very briefly, which could spot significant visual facelift and performance improvements. The company confirmed that Windows 10X, which was initially a project for dual-screen devices, will not ship. And all learnings that came from that project will be absorbed into Windows 10's improvements as required. Nothing much more about Windows 10 at this point because Nadella says that he wants to keep the unveil at another event altogether. We are looking at, I guess they say it's one of the biggest facelifts in Windows 10's history. So I am quite interested to see what new stuff they want to bring to the table. That's all for this week. Laytechs Weekly is available on Anchor FM, Overcast, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Pocket Casts, Radio Public, and more. Our full videos are available on YouTube, and I post busy clips on Instagram and Facebook. This is Laytechs Weekly, episode 26 May 2021. My name is Sean. See you next week. Stay safe. Au revoir.